Well, hi everybody. We want to introduce you to a plant that every forager, anybody that's experimenting with medicinal plants, or really if you're interacting with plants at all, I think it's good to know this plant. Here in North America, there are two plants that are deadly poisonous. There's plenty of plants that are poisonous, but these two are kind of the two pillars. Like, you don't get a second chance if you ingest these plants. They're really dangerous. And this is one of them. This is arguably the less dangerous of the two, and the other one is water hemlock. This is poison hemlock, and I believe, I already forgot the Latin name.
Conium maculatum.
Conium maculatum. Some ways to tell poison hemlock, if maybe you can step back a little, Teresa, and get sort of a feel for the overall plant. It's really tall. And of course, that varies with the time of year. So this is the end of June in the right where North Carolina and Tennessee and Virginia meet. So this is the height of this plant now. Like all members of the carrot family, if we can look at the flowers, you know, these aren't really blossoming out yet. They turn more white, but it's got that kind of umbrella look. And if you look at the leaves, they resemble wild carrot quite a bit if you're familiar with that, but they form more of a triangle. They typically form more of a triangle, and it's a very branchy plant. Some easier ways to tell poison hemlock, the things I mainly look for, one is a smooth stem. Wild carrot has a very hairy stem, so I think of a skull and crossbones. You think of those bones as being smooth. And also the color. If you see purple streaks or purple spots, that is a big sign that you're dealing with one of the poison hemlocks, the poison hemlock or the water hemlock.
And let me just show one back here that is in the same patch. This is really blurry for some reason. There it is. Look how much purple it's got on it. And then right next to it, there's one that like barely has any purple at all, but it does have little tiny spots of purple on it.
And if you could get that, there's one in flower. We've got a couple in flower here.
I told Gumby to wash his hands after he touched it.
And once you've got that, back up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so this stalk here, if you can kind of get more of a big picture, as I said, it's smooth. You see the purple spots, and as Teresa was showing, sometimes it's really purple, sometimes there's a few purple spots. Smooth and grooved too. So when I feel this, I can feel grooves going up and down the stalk. So that's another thing. The stalk is hollow. It's been mistaken for elderberry when people have been trying to make whistles out of natural materials.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to cut this and show you the hollowness, but if you deal with reeds like bamboo, stuff like that, you can kind of feel the feel of a hollow stalk. And they say when you mash up one of these leaves, it has a bad odor. I've never really been able to detect that. The main thing I look for is this stalk and just the overall appearance of something in the parsley or carrot family. So know this plant. Apparently it has been used medicinally, but I don't know anybody who recommends that. This is the plant that killed Socrates. Back with the Greeks, this used to be a plant that was used as a humane form of killing someone. It causes paralysis, whereas water hemlock causes convulsions. It's a really painful death. This is said to be sort of like going to sleep. Getting cold and going to sleep is the way Socrates described it. But apparently there's folk medicines that use this as a treatment for cancer and anti-aphrodisiac. I guess you're not too horny when you're dying. And yeah, just a few other things. But I would never use this plant medicinally. But that's just me. I don't know anybody who does. So beware of this plant. Be on the lookout. It's not a bad plant. So I'm definitely not saying go out and, kill this plant if you find it. It's a marvelous, beautiful plant. And it's such a good teacher of awareness. So if you find one growing near your house and you've got a kid or something, just bring out the kid and introduce him to this plant.
Yeah.
The idea of respecting this beautiful guardian, this beautiful plant that has such a good defense system. So thank you, poison hemlock.
Thank you. And I just wanted to add that on the other side of the street from where we're at, there's another huge patch. Gumby actually saw it the other day, and I was asking him, well, where is it? He said, oh, you'll know.
And when I find poison hemlock, I tend to find it in quite a patch. This is a really dense patch right here.
And there's also a creek behind this patch. So does it generally grow along near water?
No, water hemlock, like its name would suggest, tends to favor more wet areas. Poison hemlock likes disturbed areas. So
Oh, I see.
I see it. I wouldn't see it in the middle of a forest. I'd see it on roadsides a lot.
And this is like a kind of a not used road. But I was gonna say too, on the other side of the road, on the ground, I think there's tiny little ones sprouting up, if I'm not mistaken, and they just kind of look like the leaves. They look like the carrot-like leaves of this.
Yeah, and it is a biennial, so the first year it'll form a basal rosette. These leaves will just kind of come out of the ground. The second year, which these are, it'll send up its long stalk and flower, and then this will die.
So thank you for sharing all that information, and thank you, Poison Hemlock.